New home sales fall in October 2024 to the lowest since November of 2022. And I'm like, welcome to the Real Estate Morning Drive. This is Jesse Paul, and my guest this morning is Jessica Taggart Marron.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. It's been a minute.
I know you're used to seeing Jeremy, but we kicked him off to go up north this week, so we took over. And, you know, I was thinking about this as we were talking. It's ironic that we're going to talk about home sales for builders and 5 mistakes builders are making right now. Yesterday, I got a text from a small builder asking me about a buyer that I had previously that wanted their house. And they had been on the market for well over 200 days with this new home. And it falls right into what we're going to be talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. It's funny how life works that way. We plan things. I mean, we often plan things that don't work out, but we'll oftentimes make plans and then nuggets will come in to kind of indicate that we're the universe, that we're all thinking the right things. And so it is a sign that we need to talk about this today. So I'm excited to be here. I love new construction. I'm working with.
Yeah, this is your baby, actually. This is one thing that you do really well is new construction.
Thank you. It's really fun for me and I do enjoy it a lot. So I'm excited to talk about that today. Yeah. So let's get started. What are the top five mistakes builders, or top 5 reasons rather that homes, new construction homes aren't selling right now?
So the first one is pricing too optimistically for today's market. And to go in that a little bit more, a lot of times people think, well, this is just what I want.
Right. Or this is what it costs.
Or right. This is what I need, instead of going, okay, how does that measure up not only to the current market, but also to our competitor?
Right.
You know, because you're not, and this includes builders and resale folks, right? If you're selling a home, you're not on an island by yourself.
Correct.
Buyers have a lot of options.
They have more options than they've had really
a long time.
Since I can remember. And it's felt very wonky, you know, and we don't want to go down this path truly, but you know, we've seen buyers walk away lately for not coming together over a washer and dryer.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's because of the options that they have right now. It does give them some bargaining power, which for a buyer feels nice. For a long time, they haven't had that. But it is important when you're doing new construction. Yeah. What am I competing against in the resale market? Because, you know, lots of times people want to have something that's never been lived in. Some people don't care. You know, I just sold a home that was a second home that was very gently used, that's sitting next door to 3 or 4 new construction builds. And so it was a steal and it was already finished and furnished. So
completely
it's important
finished,
to look
right?
at that.
They didn't have to go in and finish the backyard. They didn't have to add blinds.
Right.
It was completely done. And not just resales though, but other builders. What are other builders offering?
Right.
And are you competitive? So, and that all falls into, you know, pricing too optimistically. You've got to pay attention, not just to what you want or your bottom line,
really,
but how are you in the competitive market?
Right. Study the data.
So what is number 2?
Ignoring buyer feedback.
So yeah, we've actually seen this a lot.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I see it with regular homeowners too.
Sure. It's hard.
Just dismissing.
It's like, it's very vulnerable to have your home on the market. It's stressful. What are buyers going to say about whether it's resale or, you know, new construction? It's your baby. So what are people going to say? So it is hard to listen to that feedback. But if you ignore it, it's going to cost you a lot of heartache and dollars often. And so we need to be open and you know, we need to be big boys and big girls and ready to listen to that feedback when we have buyers walk the properties.
And I think a good thought or point about this is really look at each specific feedback objectively and not personally.
Right. It's not an attack.
It's not
on
a
you.
personal thing. It's not, and some of the feedback is going to be great and some of it we can probably dismiss.
Sure.
But if we're not objective, we can't decipher between the two.
Yeah. We joke that half of our job is being a therapist because it is such an emotional ordeal to prep your home, to stage it, or to present this baby of your design baby of a new construction home. And so it is very important to keep those emotions in check because it's grueling for sure.
Yeah. And I think on the builder world, it's a lot less taking it personal versus, hey, this is just how it is.
Right.
This is how we do it. I'm famous for saying, you'll never hear me say, this is just how I am, or this is just who I am. I'm always looking at myself going, yeah, but is that effective?
That's
so
true. You
in the
are
builder
very
world, right? Or
introspective.
in business, we should be always looking, okay, is that actually the best thing to do?
Yeah.
Is that actually the best way to get buyers, the best buyers, right?
What's, we could talk about every one of these things for a whole show, right? Really. But I think that's what's really critical about looking for that feedback. And we can talk about this more. Really, it's because it's about realtors. I'm kind of skipping ahead, but really looking, you say, is this the best way to do this? Looking at every plan. Is this the best plan? Does this plan still work the best? Is there a way that we can refine this? I do see a lot of builders that I can look in a plan and say, I've been seeing this plan for 15 years. And so are we tweaking as we're, are we looking at things critically and improving always, or are we just mailing it in? And so that can feel tired to buyers, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to look at that.
We actually both have had a gentleman here in St. George, and he's not even a builder. But he has been in here.
He's been with
at
me
least
like 4
twice, me twice, you 4 times, getting our feedback on a plan that he wants to build.
Yeah.
And how many times have we seen maybe, and this happens a lot with smaller builders, but they think, oh, this is going to work great, but they don't get any feedback. They don't get any brainstorming in, and then they build it and the market completely rejects what they've done.
Well, or there are little things that,
that could be better.
And they just didn't think to ask. And I don't feel like I'm sexist, but I do feel like it helps always when we ask another gender on something like this, because we're going to have opinions, we're going to have insight to homes and design and little details about where the light switches should be, what's most effective for this. Is it better for the door to swing this way or this way? And sometimes it may not come to their mind, or they've asked their wife or their business partner, and that's the only person they've asked, and it does cost them. So it's important to,
because you spoke about that. I often, and this isn't about gender, but this is about, are you asking people that are in the trenches?
Sure.
I often go out riding my bike on the Hurricane Rim Trail, and there's a spot where I can sit and look at the river, and it looks just so peaceful. But you can't tell which way the river's flowing.
Interesting.
And I often think, real estate is just that way. You really can't know what's going on unless you're right in the trenches talking to buyers and sellers every day.
And that's really,
you don't see what's changing.
You don't see, and it's really easy to look at a snippet of we even opened the show with a Forbes, an article from Forbes, which I love Forbes, but that's on a macro level, right? And so we want to know from a micro level. So it's really, like you said, important to pull the people that are in the trenches and really see it, because it is going to affect your bottom line.
But I would dare say that national poll is actually true for here too.
I agree. Oh, sweet. I'm getting noisy with my bracelets. I better take this.
Oh, wow. Those are sensitive. All right. So now we got sidetracked. So now we're going to go into number 3, not marketing beyond the local MLS or the MLS, which is the multiple listing service. So there's so many other ways to reach buyers. You had mentioned a couple this morning. I'll let you talk about the different ways that we do things.
Sure. Well, before we even go that far, I think it's important for people to understand, Utah, for example, has 5 multiple listing services. So we are not one United. And
And most states are that way.
Yes. And so, we market to the 3 of the 5 most prolific multiple listing sites because we know that a lot of buyers come from our northern Utah areas. And so it doesn't make sense not to do that. And it does cost us money, but we also know that is a service to our buyers.
To put that into perspective, in Washington County, there's about 2,000 licensed real estate agents. Iron County, I think there's about 750. But in the Wasatch Front, there's 12,000 licensed real estate agents that we want to be in front of because they have buyers potentially looking in Southern Utah.
They absolutely do. And so it's not even just beyond the MLS. I would break it down and say beyond your local MLS. And then on top of that, what are you doing to present your brand, on social media and how you market it? Some of the things that we've done are, obviously videos and social media. I'm blanking on the words. Ads, great, perfect, thank you. But also we've done a lot of local driven events to bring not only regular people but agents, because we know most people are going to work with an outside agent. And so we want them to know about the product. And so I think if builders are not doing that, they're doing themselves a disservice, or their agents aren't doing that, they're doing themselves a disservice. And we need to figure out how can you do that so that you're exposing your business and your build products to the masses. Right.
How do we get it out to the most people? So that leads us into the next, because you kind of brought it up, the presentation, poor or generic presentation. How many times, and you would, when we were talking this morning, commented about people going out and just taking cell phone pictures and throwing them up.
Yeah. And, we're really talking to builders today, to be clear. Buyers are probably less concerned of how the builders are marketing the homes, although it's kind of contributing to what you're seeing and not. But builders, they're doing their potential buyers disservice by having those photographs with, my favorites are with the thumbprint in the iPhone, or the ones that are out of focus, or, or you don't even have
my biggest mistake is I can never get level. Oh. And it drives Jeremy crazy.
Well, I know. Poor Jeremy. He has to deal with all of our imperfections. It's so hard to be him.
But right. And that's also you mentioned earlier, are we presenting floor plans? That's a big deal to buyers. Hey, how big is that room?
Well,
where does that room sit in the house? Is there a pantry? I can't really tell. Right. And a floor plan will actually do that.
Well, I will often see, 3 pictures of a new construction that's halfway built. They've poured the footings, or they've put, they're framed, and then they'll put a floor plan. And, a floor plan is incredibly helpful, but I feel like I'm always surprised at how much people need visual guide.
Yeah, they don't really know.
Most people really struggle to understand what that floor plan really looks like. And so if we can spoon feed, if you're not spoon feeding, really, everything that this house is going to look like for your potential buyers, you're missing the mark. And so when I say that, I mean having 3D renderings, having ideas of how you could landscape the backyard, even if you're not including it. The mood boards of the finishes that you're going to be putting in, contact number for the designer if you want to walk and touch those fabric samples, and all of those things they're really not. Most of them aren't going to cost a ton of money, but they are going to surprise and delight the people that are looking at the listings. And if you're missing out on those people, you're probably, I say in all seriousness, when I show people resale homes, sometimes people can't get beyond the color of the paint on the walls.
Right.
And so if we're working with people and that's not a slam, that's just a reality, right? And so if people aren't able to look past a paint color on a home that is existing, how much more challenging will it be for them to really visualize what a house will look like when it's not even standing? So you've got you've got to do everything you can to help people
make that
really
easier.
visualize what that home is going to look. And there are some agents that are out in the market that are doing great things with that, and there are some that are unfortunately just not helping their builder clients out with that.
Right. One other thing that we didn't talk about, but the power of actual staging or even virtual staging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It's amazing.
Once a house is complete, if you don't want to stage it, can you virtually stage it? And I've been surprised at actually how inexpensive staging is for the impact that it delivers.
Correct. The return over investment is astronomical with staging. I mean, there's data that can prove that all day long. And what I find so interesting is, there's this fine line, and that's why professionals are great. They have been trained in knowing what is going to make the home feel aesthetically pleasing without it feeling too crazy. And oftentimes homes will look too small because they've got too much furniture in it. But it's amazing. Also, the reverse is true. That oftentimes bedrooms will look really small until you stage them, and then you think, you can really fit a good amount of furniture in here,
You can't really tell, can I fit my bed here? That's true.
So all of those little things, again, spoon feeding the potential buyer to really see, and that's why models are so successful, right?
Yeah, because
and statistically, in new construction developments, the model home is often the one that is built the most, because the people go in and like it and see that it.
Right. And the last piece we've touched on a little bit already, but lack of engagement with local realtors, right? A lot of times we see that in that world, they don't want to deal with them at all, but it's a necessary, for lack of a better term, it's a necessary evil.
Well, and
we realtors are working with the buyers.
I just went under contract with some repeat buyers. This is our second home that they've built in Cole West, and I actually built in the same I built with Cole West as well, and they are great to work with as an outside agent. They're very respectful. They're really encouraging. They're excited to work with us, and there's a reason why I love taking my buyers there, because I know that they're going to have a good experience. They're going to have a beautiful home at the end of the day. And it doesn't feel acrimonious to work together, because it is, it's a long, especially with a new construction, it can often take a year. Yeah. And so you want to be with people that are excited to work with you. And so it does make a big difference. And I appreciate that builders are trying to save money, right? They don't want to just pay someone that came in off the street, and often they'll feel that way, that there's these buyers are hiring their aunt that's going to give them all the money back. And, I can totally appreciate where they're coming from, but I would argue that agents that are seasoned, that really understand new construction, are going to be there holding their buyers' hands throughout the whole process. They should be. Headed to the design center with them, really understanding and helping them understand the process of new construction, because it's a beast. I always say, you see how the sausage gets made, and it's not pretty. And you want to be able to talk them off the ledge when there are mistakes that are made inevitably. And so if they don't have that relationship, sorry, I'm on my soapbox, but if they don't have that team-minded relationship with outside realtors, it is, I believe, going to affect them in the long run.
Well, not only that, but let's say you're building a spec home. If you don't have that there, it affects you there too.
For sure.
Right? Because the buyers have a lot of choices, and they're going to end up at the best value, the builder that gives them the most opportunity, the most perks.
Absolutely. Incentives really matter right now.
There's no way around it. It's important to have that relationship or be open to it.
Right. And really just understand the dynamic of how it can affect your business. Builders, we are talking to you today. We love working with builders. We love new construction. And if you feel like you are not seeing the traction that you want on any of your build jobs or your future build jobs, please reach out. We would love to meet with you. We'd come to our office, crack open a cold Diet Coke and talk about your plans and your goals and see how we can help you. If we can help you, we feel like we can, and we love working with builders.
Yeah. And I watched you and Jeremy for 4 years?
Yeah. Almost 5.
Work with, a local builder, and it really became a team. Like I was just so impressed at watching you guys go through that and helping them grow their business.
Thank you.
It wasn't about selling homes.
No.
It was about growing their business and helping them making money. And it just happened to be we were selling homes.
Yeah. No, I mean, we were so honored to be in business with them. It was a privilege, and you know, we're not in business anymore, but we still love them and think they build a great product and are really excited about what they're doing. But yes, I mean, it's a relationship is it's important to have, I believe. I think it really makes a difference for everyone.
Yeah. And so if you're new here, I wanted to touch on one thing. The reason we were talking about this is because we started the show off with, you know, new home sales are down compared to like at the lowest rate since 2022 when the market shifted. And if you're a builder out there and you're seeing this or you're feeling this, you know, reach out here to the Larkin Group. You can reach us, Google the Larkin Group. You can give us a call. We'd love to sit down and have a no obligation chat and just help you understand this current market and how to win in this current market. Right?
Yeah.
And so we sure appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for having us.
So fun to be with you.
We love you. Jessica's here quite a bit with us. All right, guys, over and out.
Thanks so much.